Greetings and welcome to Crew Coffee Convos. We're excited. How many have we done of our Crew Coffee Convos? Is this our seventh or sixth?
This is seventh.
Yeah.
7, the number of perfection. So this episode will be
Perfect.
bingo. If you've got your Bibles, I hope you have them, and you can turn with us to Mark chapter 6, verse 30 to 44. And we'd ask that you'd already do the discussion guide before you follow along with our Crew Coffee Combos. And guys, we're here at this incredible story, the feeding of the 5,000. But probably because, I don't know my own heart, maybe this is only true for my own heart, maybe not for you, but I think sometimes the magnitude and significance and the wonder of these stories that we're reading in the book of Mark can really kind of just be like, ho-hum. Jesus, like, he fed 5,000 people, not a big deal. No, that's a significant deal. That's a significant moment. Can you relate with me on this, or am I just totally
No, actually, when I was reading this morning, I don't know, I had this like really strange thought that I was like, this could have been possible. I was like, no, actually, this is a miracle. This is miraculous.
I mean, just think about if you were to show up with 5,000 people at McDonald's. Would they get fed?
Not at all.
Yeah. I don't know.
I still have in my mind the flannel graph pictures from
That's right.
Sunday school. Where
That's right.
There's Jesus, a few disciples, and then there's like 50 people on the flannel graph.
That's right.
So you have that mental image of like 50 people, but it's way more than that. And you have to like think about like a stadium full of people.
Yeah, if you went
get the
to
same idea. Right?
any fast food restaurant, this would overwhelm them. If you went to any restaurant, this would overwhelm them. You know, some of the bigger restaurants that I can think of, the Cheesecake Factory, big place. Nope, this would have overwhelmed them. 5,000 people is a lot of people. And the reality is, Jesus was not fazed by this. And so, first of all, we want to talk about how Jesus responds. So they come to this desolate place. Why did they come there?
The disciples were tired. They've been traveling around the whole region, preaching and teaching, and then they come back to Jesus, and they're exhausted. It says actually that they didn't even have time, leisure to eat. So they're tired. They come to Jesus, and Jesus says, let's go away to a desolate place and rest.
So let's just relax for a bit. And then, what happens after that, Jake?
Yeah, so they go to relax, and a crowd follows them. They see them out on the ocean, the lake, and they start running, and they actually get there before they arrive in the boat. So it's not really desolate when they get there.
I mean, that would really stink. I don't know. I'm just maybe speaking humanly, but that would be expectation disappointment.
Absolutely.
Right there.
Yeah.
But teaches throughout the day, and then what happens?
So, they get there, there's a big crowd, and Jesus feels compassion upon the crowd. He sees them, and it says that they were like a sheep without a shepherd, and that's why he felt the compassion. And that is actually, like it says in the devotional, about the Old Testament reference to just people wandering, no spiritual direction, not having any leader. And that's kind of the feel that Jesus knows the crowd, doesn't have any leader, and that he feels compassion and stops and starts preaching to them.
And he is compassionate, not just about their physical food and needs at this point. He's concerned about their spiritual needs, and that they would have the bread of life. And so after he teaches them, what happens next, Drew?
Well, the disciples actually come to him, and they're like, well, this is a desolate place, right? Because that's where they're trying to go to. They're trying to go to this desolate place. They're like, this is a desolate place, but it's now late in the day, so send them away. Go, let them go get something to eat. And I don't even, the disciples might have had this kind of selfish impulse, like, all right, we're at this place, and it's getting late, so go away.
Time for my nap.
Yes. It's my bedtime. Leave and go find something to eat. But Jesus actually he's not done with the crowd. And he says, well, you give them something to eat. It's very interesting, he turns to the disciples and gives them a command, they can't do it. And even they reflect that. In verse 37, they're like, are we going to buy 200 denarii or 8 months' wages is literally not going to be able to feed this crowd because it's such a huge crowd. So Jesus just like turns and he just gives them the command that like there's absolutely no way they can do on their own.
Yeah. And so they are dependent on Jesus to fulfill his commands for them. And you look through our lives, and I don't know your own spiritual life, is I feel like the commands sometimes of Jesus are so beyond even comprehension. They're impossible. But the reality is actually with Jesus, all things are possible. And he is able to feed this group.
I mean, there are so many things that we can't do in our own strength. We can't evangelize or disciple other people just in our own strength, and Jesus commanded us to do that. But he's commanded us to do these things so that we will rely on him through the process while we're doing those things. And even just in everyday obedience, we can't do it just on our own. We can't just think or like just muster up. We have to be in the Word, depending on Jesus in prayer, and that's where we're going to find the victory. That's where the strength comes from.
Yeah. I think a significant moment comes in verse 42. And after they had eaten, Jesus had done the miracle. This was not a skimpy miracle. This wasn't just like a little morsel. It says in verse 42, and they all ate and were satisfied. And so Jesus, he was compassionate about their spiritual needs, but he also was compassionate about their physical needs. And I'm reminded that we are souls embodied. We are spiritual beings inside of the physical body. And Jesus doesn't divide those out and say, just take care of your physical body. You got that. I'm just going to take care of your soul. No, Jesus actually cares for the soul, but he also cares for our bodies too. And he cared about them. Guys, any other big points that you want to just share with us and something on your heart that you would love for us to know?
Yeah, well, that aspect there about them all eating and they were satisfied is kind of cool how you see the two parallels of Jesus stopping having compassion because they're sheep without a shepherd.
Yeah.
And because they're hungry spiritually, really.
Yeah.
And then Jesus feeds them spiritually, and then he doesn't leave them hungry physically either. So the eating of the bread is really a physical representation of the spiritual reality of their hearts. They needed Jesus. They needed to be satisfied with the words of life, with the bread of life, who is Jesus. So.
And I really think his whole compassion is just like really on display for us to see. I mean, I get tired of caring for people.
Yeah.
And we were even talking about this before. Sometimes it's like we clock in, like I'm gonna start caring for people, but like maybe you go home and you're like gonna watch a movie and like clock out. I'm not caring about people anymore. It's like I'll go to school and I'll care about people, but once I come home, Jesus doesn't do that. He's going on vacation as it is, but he doesn't ever stop caring, and he never gets tired of caring for us. He never gets tired of our spiritual need, and it's because he has this endless supply of joy, of strength, of peace. Like this bread, he took such a small amount. When it says loaves there, it doesn't mean like an Outback loaf. It's like a cracker. It's like just a snack. He takes this tiny thing, feeds everybody. And Jesus doesn't get tired. He doesn't run out of resources to provide for our needs. And it's almost like what we talked about if you were here on Wednesday night a couple weeks ago, Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things. I can be content in any situation because it's Christ who strengthens me. It's Jesus who has the bread of life, and he doesn't run out. He doesn't run out of the power to sustain us. And he never runs out of the care to actually give us what we need.
That's good. Well, hopefully you have dove into this passage. You've grown through it. You've done the study guide, and hopefully this video has been helpful as well. We're excited as we continue to do these, and pray that you're growing and that you're enjoying, as we look into the book of Mark, that you are seeing Jesus in a new light, in a new way, and just more vivid applicable to your life today as well. Well, with that, guys, we'll be done, and we're excited for our next time together.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you later.